back to another edition of Value My Vote 2011 one-on-one with the candidates. And we're joined by a premier candidate in the 2nd District, my man, Mr. Brandon Scott. What's going on, man?
How are you, sir?
I'm just right. Thanks for taking the time out of the campaign schedule. I know it's busy, 60 days left, 63, something like that. So thanks for coming on.
Not a problem. Not a problem.
Now, you're running in the 2nd. Obviously, the 2nd for the viewers and the voters who are watching is an open district. Nick Giordano, who's a former councilman, is leaving after a long term and did great service in the 2nd District. You're a former neighborhoods guy from the current administration, actually, stepped away and said, you know what, I'm going to run for office. 27 years old, doing your thing. Why are you running for the 2nd District this year?
I'm running for the 2nd District, number one, first and foremost, because this is what I've always wanted to do. Everything that I've done in my life, from education to work experience, has been to prepare me for this point. Secondly, because more importantly, voters and citizens of the 2nd District in Northeast Baltimore came to me a few years ago when Nick decided to say he was going to retire and said that, Brandon, you should do this. And I was like, really? You think I'm ready? It was like, you're experienced, you're great, we love you, you know us, you know the issues, you know how to work for us. We want you to take it to the next level. So that's why I'm running for city council in the 2nd District.
What has working in the office of neighborhoods in the mayor's office taught you about constituent service to be prepared to run for this office?
Well, it's not just my work in the Office of Neighborhoods, but also previously in the Office of the Council President. It teaches you about everything there is about being a city council person, to be honest. The constituent service is a given because you have to respond. You have to respond to the citizens' issues. You have to be able to know that knowledge of who to respond to, who are the people that can get it done for you and get it done for those citizens in a quick, timely and efficient manner. So for me, that experience, you can't replace that experience. You know, being out there day and night as I was, you know, the community people will tell you it could be 3 a.m., 3 p.m. I was out there with them, walking the alleys, taking the pictures, you know, looking at the issues, going in their yards, going in their homes to discuss those issues, and you can't replace that experience. Also, my experience in the Office of the Council President, working on legislation, writing legislation, learning how to run the hearings, that's the kind of stuff that you normally would have to learn as a council person. I won't need that. I'll be able to hit the ground running and continue to serve the citizens of the 2nd District as I am currently in my previous role.
On day one, if you are elected, what are the 3 top issues that you would hit the ground running with that you see as a big void here in the city of Baltimore?
Well, I'll just start specifically with 2nd District stuff. And when you talk to citizens of not just the 2nd District, but all Northeast Baltimore, the number one issue for them is that the police district, Northeast District, is the largest, but it does not have adequate services. We're allocated roughly the same amount of officers of districts that can fit inside the Northeast District 3 and maybe even 4 times. That's the number one issue because that is not safe for us, the citizens, and it's not safe for the men and women of the police department. That's number one. We have to get adequate resources for the Northeast District to address what is new to most of the neighborhoods in Northeast, some crime issues that are new that they have never seen before. We need the adequate resources to address them. Secondly, for the 2nd District, and which may even be more important than the first, is that we have to begin to advocate for the revitalization of the Bel Air Road business corridor. I always say, as goes Bel Air Road, so will go our neighborhoods. That is key. That's going to take great partnerships, state, city, county, federal government. Everybody's going to have to come together to figure out how we can get valuable businesses back on Bel Air Road, because while Harford Road has seen a great renaissance, as you know, nice restaurants, Bel Air Road has seen the complete opposite. You know, vacant, dilapidated buildings that lead to crime and grime and the downgrade of the neighborhood.
Okay, when we speak about you being a young man, obviously education and youth are probably one of your bigger priorities. When we see the kind of disparities in what we see with the education and its funding between that and actually policing and stuff, what would you do as a council person to kind of balance that funding kind of disparity that we have in the city?
I think that first thing what we have to do, and I think as far as education and youth, as you know, I'm a product of the school system, we have made leaps and bounds. I was just telling a guy a couple minutes ago that I went to Maryville, I graduated 9 years ago, right? I go to Maryville regularly now. The kids there now have 10 times the resources that I had even 9 years ago, which is great. But no celebrating, we have to continue to improve upon. And we have stuff that we did well back then that we don't do now, and vice versa. But as far as the disparity in the funding, I always challenge people to look at direct funding for youth violence prevention and youth, police services that coincide with youth, and what we spend for youth services. But what I do think that we need to do, as far as, and this is something that we're throwing around in the 2nd District, we're actually going to be renovating Radke Playfield in the 2nd District, where 4 football leagues and the Gardenville Baseball League play. In order to properly fund them, we're trying to convince all of them to come together to form some kind of group, maybe a 501c3 or something, where they can raise and pool money together so they become self-sufficient and not always depend on the businesses that they used to depend on Bellevue aren't there anymore. We have to, in the 21st century, figure out new ways and be creative on how to keep our youth organizations running. And we also, and the most important thing for me, knowing and being a part of that kind of stuff growing up, and seeing the difference now is that we have to figure out how to get the parents back involved, because that's the key. As you know, as a father, my father was in everything that I did. But now when I go back to my in my track club that I ran in for the city, I go and I see some parents, but some kids, the coaches basically are the reason they're there. They're taking care. We have to get our parents back involved, because a teacher can teach all day, but when they go home, we have to have the parents understand the value of their education as well.
So, as a track star, I guess you were built for this run for City.
Yeah.
You said everything you did before led you to right here, and that's it. So,
city champion in the mile and the 2 mile.
Oh yeah?
Yep.
Okay. Now, there has been probably to you discouraging remarks, and especially someone like the Baltimore Sun, in terms of redistricting, and people are saying that because you've worked for the mayor, that you are a part of that administration, of her support. What do you say to people when they ask you, well, who are you besides the endorsed candidate of the mayor, Stephanie Rawlins-Blake?
The first thing I say to them is, talk to the residents and community leaders of Northeast Baltimore and the 2nd District and see what they say, because they'll say the exact opposite. They will tell them that even as a former employee in the mayor's office, it was I who was constantly advocating for resources and advocating for issues for them, some of which, people will never know, because that's not who I am. I'm not a beat my chest kind of, I did this kind of guy. That's the first thing I would say. And as far as the way the lines are cut, I work with everybody. I don't care what color they are, what neighborhood they are. And the 2nd District is already very culturally diverse. And I will also actually challenge those people to talk to all the people that live in that district and see what they think about the redistricting before they make a judgment on saying it's done just to help me.
Okay. So if those who are paying attention want to know more about you, learn more about you, and see who Brandon Scott is, how can they get in contact with you and your campaign?
They can visit my website, which is just www.brandonmscott.net, and has all our contact information right there.
Okay, well, Brandon Scott, thank you so much for joining us and giving us this time.
Thank
we
you,
wish
sir.
you all the best in your run for City Council in the 2nd District. And we'll be back with more of Value My Vote.